Lawmakers, state lawmakers have until June to go over hundreds of bills that affect everything that, that touch most of our lives, especially insurance.
Insurance has been a controversial topic for many, and for our state, and the Louisiana Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple is backing several measures that he says will help resolve the current insurance crisis in our state. WWL anchor Brandon Walker held a one-on-one with Commissioner Temple back in February and is joining us in the studio.
Long time no see.
Right. Weren't you just over here?
Yeah.
You just
Magic
switched
of TV.
sofas. But no, you had a very in-depth conversation with Temple, and you guys went over a number of things. And I think that when we were talking about it, when you came back, you just said that there's a lot that he's trying to do, but there's a lot of concern about how it's going to be done.
Yeah, that's the big question, right? So from Tim Temple's perspective, someone who came up within the insurance industry, who ultimately became an executive in the insurance industry and now finds himself on the other side as a consumer advocate for insurers, says that the best bet in attracting more insurers to the state is to open the playing field, to have it less regulation here is his approach. We talked about several of the bills that he wanted to get on the floor for consideration during our extensive interview that we did last month. Here's one of the questions we asked him about that.
What specific bills would you support being brought to a vote on the floor?
Well, several that I've talked about is, Louisiana is the only state in the U.S. that has a 3-year rule. And I understand that, for years and years, legislators have heard the mantra, it's a great consumer protection bill. But we're at the point now, Brandon, where people can't afford insurance. The quotes that are out there, the renewals that people are getting, I hear it time and time again, I can't afford that. So, having this great consumer protection bill that creates a market that you can't afford doesn't help anybody. So it's in my opinion, it's anti-consumer. In the sense that it inhibits companies from wanting to come into Louisiana. And it also constrains the capital. It captures, the capital, the companies that are doing business here in the state. I mean, once you've been on that policy for, the number of years as stated in law, you've got them. You can't get off of them. And that may sound great, but if it's inhibiting other companies from coming in and offering competitive quotes, then that, as a consumer, I think the best consumer protection is choice. And if we're successful, and I think we will be, creating that atmosphere of competition, then consumers will have more choice, not less choice.
Yeah, so essentially there, if you build it, they will come, is his approach there. If you open up the playing field, more insurers will come, and the hope is over time the rates will come down.
And he had kind of alluded to that plan here, or the law here in Louisiana, where if you've been with an insurance company for 3 years or longer, they cannot dump you no matter how many hurricanes may strike in an area. A lot of people, and I get that, feel very safeguarded by that because so many insurance companies dump people after a couple of storms or incidents.
I'm hearing that daily where people are saying, oh yeah, found out yesterday my insurance provider dumped me. That's crazy.
Right, and we're talking specifically here about the 3-year rule, and what it does is it means that an insurer cannot drop a customer if they've had them on the books for 3 or more years. Temple wants to get rid of them. Interestingly, it's a consumer safeguard, but Temple refers to it as anti-consumer. Jim Donelon, his predecessor, said that it was something that needed to stay around. Lawmakers the last time tried to modify the 3-year rule. It didn't happen that time. I asked Temple about that this time around. What would be different, Eric and Brianna? He says that he thinks that the situation is so dire that lawmakers will go in and make changes to that rule, which he says keeps customers out. But again, it's meant to protect the consumer.
However, that could affect a lot of people if that does happen, because insurance companies are known to have very little loyalty unless they're forced to.
And also one more thing I should add, because something in our reporting with what's going on the State House now with the bills that are being introduced, just want to be clear to our viewers that you're not going to see, even if they pass something tomorrow and the governor signs it, you're not going to see any changes before the start of hurricane season, because the assumption here is that if more companies come, then rates will be lowered. But that you got to get the companies here first. The other thing that Temple is looking at and that we're seeing is more money being put into the Fortify Homes program. That is something that a lot of people on all sides of this debate say is a good thing here, putting more money into this system so that you will incentivize people to have stronger roofs, and then as such, they'll have a lower insurance rate.
All right, and it's not just our state. I mean, a lot of states
Right.
are dealing
It's
with
the
it.
entire Gulf Coast, and
Yeah.
those states are competing against one another for those very companies.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll be keeping close watch on this. The regular session will end on June the 3rd.